On this week's episode of Rainbow Hollywood, NBC moves Grosse Pointe Society to Friday nights. John Leguizamo also teases possible Encanto sequel where all we do is talk about Bruno exactly. Then JoJo Siwa attends iHeartRadio and wore a wig she got from Etsy and denim outfit she got from the Versace outlet. Bella Ramsey speaks about being diagnosed as autistic after a crew member assumed that they were. And Gypsy Rose Blanchard still isn't ready to marry Ken Urker after welcoming the baby. Rainbow Hollywood starts now. What's up, podcast listeners? I'm Caleb Law, and welcome to Rainbow Hollywood. We got a couple weeks before Easter, so let's get into this week's updates, and we can go from there. A midstream scheduling change is rarity for networks in recent years, but one is happening at NBC. The network will move its first-year drama Grosse Pointe Society from Sunday to Friday nights, starting April 4th. The show will take the 8 p.m. spot currently occupied by Happy's Place. The Reba McEntire-led comedy finishes its season to March 21st. Episodes of Dateline will take over the 10 p.m. Sunday slot after Grosse Pointe Society moves. The change in nights is meant to help Grosse Pointe Society to get more of some eyes to on its on-air showings. The change in nights is meant to help Grosse Pointe Society get some more eyes to on its air showings. The series, which follows members of Suburban Garden Club whose lives become entangled with scandal and secrets, and a murder, has found some traction streaming on Peacock, but its on-air viewing has struggled some. Through its first 3 episodes, Grosse Pointe Society has averaged a scant 1.29 million same-day viewers, making it NBC's lowest on-air performance this season. The February 23rd series premiere, however, has grown to 6.6 million viewers in the past 4 weeks with streaming and other delayed viewing, more than triple in its initial audience of 1.79 million. Friday nights, however, have been a little kinder to NBC this season. Happy's Place averages 3.35 million same-days viewers and has been renewed for a second season. Grosse Pointe Society stars Melissa Fumero, Grosse Pointe Society stars Melissa Fumero, Agent Naomi King, Ben Rappaport, Anna Sophia Robb, Matthew Davis, Alexander Hodge, Nancy Travis, Felix Wolf, Jenna Bands, and Bill Krebs. Bill Krebs created the series and are co-showrunners. Executive producing with Casey Kyber, Universal Television produces. One of Disney's best modern movies may be finally getting a sequel. Released back in 2021, Encanto introduced a whole host of wonderful characters in this musical tale about a multi-generational Colombian family, the Madrigals, and their mysterious magical gifts. Now star John Leguizamo has declared that he is eager to talk more about his character Bruno Madrigal, revealing that the House of Mouse is trying to come up with the storyline for Encanto 2. Speaking with People, Leguizamo offered a promising update on the development of Encanto 2, revealing that the animated sequel is now being discussed. Not only that, the actor states that if he gets his way, the follow up will be heavily centered on Bruno, the Madrigals' ostracized uncle. I mean uncle, um, who has the ability to see and create visions of the future. A gift that puts him at odds with the rest of the family and led to the hit song We Don't Talk About Bruno. Released back in 2021, Encanto is now considered one of Disney's best modern animated films. Winning the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, Encanto was met with reviews for rave reviews for both critics and audiences alike. The movie now holds a certified fresh of 92% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, alongside a verified hot rating of 93% from audiences on Popcorn Meteor. Encanto setting and cultural perspective are new for Disney, but the end result is the same: enchanting, beautifully animated fun for the whole family. The consensus reads, considering the recent mon- monumental success of another sequel, Moana 2, The House of Mouse would be foolish not to bring the Madrigal family back for another adventure. And focusing on Bruno, a character who was cleverly set up as the villain of a piece before being revealed to be one of the movie's most endearing characters, is surely the way to go. Not only is John Leguizamo eager to return, so is the lead star Stephanie Beatriz, who starred in the first outing as Mirabel Madrigal. Discussing as a potential follow up back in 2023, she said, "I would love to work with them again. The team on that film was so incredible to work with that. I think a lot of time right now is being taken up by other stuff. I know Jared and I think Brian, too, are working on a second Zootopia right now, but I would love to work with them again." Directed by directed by Jared Bush and Brian Howard, and co-directed by Charisse Castro Smith, Encanto introduces audiences to the Madrigals, an extraordinary family who live hidden in the mountains of Colombia, in a charmed place called the Encanto. The magic of the Encanto has blessed every child in the family with a unique gift. Every child except Mirabel. JoJo Siwa's look for the 2025 iHeartRadio Music Awards had everything you can imagine, possibly even more. The former Dance Mom star is constantly evolving when it comes to personal style, and by the looks of her recent head turning outfit, she's entering another era. And you better buckle up. On March 17th, the Karma singer walked across the award show red carpet in a custom long brunette wig that was styled all the up into a circular updo decked out with the round pink bedazzled charm hanging in the middle. The headpiece also came with the two bejeweled curved pillars and a large array of gemstones in the middle. Speaking with iHeartRadios on the outlet's pre-show red carpet, Siwa said she sourced the dramatic headpiece from Etsy 2 days before the show and scrambled to find something to wear. She also said that she had to do something as dramatic as the kiss-resembling costume she wore to last year's event. In addition to the wig, Siwa rocked a sparkly denim set teamed with a pink Versace bra and underwear. Pink Versace and bra and underwear. I was going to say this, but In addition to the wig, Siwa rocked a sparkly Demin set team with a pig versus bra and underwear that she said she got at the outlet. The the glitter didn't stop there. Siwa channeled the signature glam with face the glitter didn't stop there. Siwa channeled her signature glam with face makeup that consisted of pastel gemstones arranged across her eyes and forehead. When asked if her new aesthetic is an Easter egg for her new music, Siwa confirmed that it indeed is. After 9 years, I'm finally in a driver's seat completely, she said. That means that now, instead of listening to what song I should put out and listening to what I should do and being told, I guess, what has to happen, I now decide to I now get to decide again, which I'm grateful for. Over the last few years, I realize I'm not bulletproof, so I'm excited to take music in that direction and have some fun. On January 1st, Siwa released a music video for her new single, Choose Your Fighter, which she battles six fictitious exes at once in a video game style showdown inside an outdoor arena. The 2025 Music Awards at iHeartRadio aired live at the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles on March 17th at 8 p.m. ET on Fox. Fans also tuned in to the iHeartRadio stations nationwide and also on the iHeartRadio app. Bella Ramsey spoke about being diagnosed with autism during the filming of the first season of The Last of Us. In 2023, Bella said in an interview that they had recently been diagnosed as a neurodivergent. I don't know if I'd be an actor if it wasn't for one of my things is I'm very perceptive. Perceptive, sometimes too perceptive. I get paralyzed because I just see everything. It takes me 4 hours to get around Tesco's. They explained nothing. Noting a sensitivity for micro expressions and social cues. In a new interview with British Vogue, Bella said that they, for some reason, had never wanted to specify what they had been diagnosed with. They then said, I got diagnosed with autism when I was filming season 1 of The Last of Us. Though Bella said, always wondered if they had been autistic. It took a crew member with an autistic child, assuming that they were also autistic to speak a formal assessment. They described themselves as a weirdo and a loner as a child, experiencing hyper-awareness of people's expressions and sensory issues. The latter included their reaction to the thermals and waterproofs that have to be worn on the show's cold shoots, which they described as too much stuff on my body. Bella described autism as in a set to acting, noting, I've always been watching and learning from people, having to learn more manually how to socialize and interact with the people around me has helped me with the acting. They further said that they enjoyed the routines of set. I have a call time and I'm told what to wear, how to stand, and where to stand and what to eat. As for the freeing diagnosis, Bella said, it enables me to walk through the world with more grace towards myself about not being able to do the easy everyday tasks that everyone else seems to be able to do. When compared to the labels surrounding their gender identity and sexuality, 21-year-old explained, the label of being autistic has been helpful help to me because that helped me to understand myself. But gender and sexuality wise labels do not feel comfy for me in any capacity because I feel like I'm putting myself into a box. I feel trapped. Indeed, Bella is aware and a bit sad of their inability inability to explore their gender and sexual identity in private. Conversely, sharing their autism diagnosis allows them to unmask immediately when speaking to people. My experience of moving through the world is an autistic is as is as an autistic person, they added. There's no reason for people not to know. 'Cause Bella Ramsey, she's usually autistic like I was. I mean, she's usually autistic like I am. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who shares daughter Aurora with Ken Urker, explained what she regrets about her divorce from ex Ryan Anderson and why she doesn't want to make a hasty marriage decision. The Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup star explained why is taking her relationship with Ken Urker more slowly than her past relationships, especially welcoming daughter Aurora in December. After all, Gypsy Rose and Ken, who were formally engaged in 2018 but split in 2019, rekindled their romance shortly after the 33-year-old filed for divorce from Ryan Anderson in April 2024. When we reconnected, it was the hormonies, Gypsy Rose said of Ken on March. I was going to say this, but when we reconnected, it was the hormonies. Gypsy Rose said of Ken on the March 17th episode of Life After Lockup. The hormonies made me move so fast. Do I regret it? I don't regret the choices I've made for him. What I regret is how I went about it. She added, I wouldn't take it back, but I wish it would have been different for Ryan's sake. People got hurt, and I recognize that a lot more now. The last thing I want to do is make another hasty decision. But the reality TV star may not have to worry too much because, as she noticed in the episode, Ken hasn't proposed and he hasn't hinted around to proposing. He's just making big statements of love, she continued. And with an upcoming baby, with my divorce is about to be finalized. That's when we move into unknown territory that I am free. I'm not married to Ryan anymore. I'm not held down by that. Anything can happen. Amid the anxiety of planning for the future, Gypsy Rose, who was released from prison in December of 2023 after serving 8 years for her role in her mom Dee Dee Blanchard's 2015 murder, is simply enjoying being with Ken on her time. With 12 days left to go until the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, the NBC panel is discussing how successful the sequel console will likely end up being. Nintendo Switch is on a track to be the best-selling Nintendo console ever. So, how will Switch 2 stack up in a rapidly evolving industry? Join Logan Plant, Jada Griffin, Brian Altano, and Seth Macy as they try to answer that question. Plus, Xenoblade Chronicles 10 Definitive Edition is out this week. And we sit down with the author of IGN's review, George Yang, to talk about why it's an amazing open to RPG. You should check it out. Finally, Logan goes on a tangent about the Nintendo logo appearing on the Seattle's Mariners' jerseys, and the panels talk about what the GameCube library might look like on the Nintendo Switch Online. Jennifer Lopez had the best +1 during her latest night out. The on-the-floor singer stepped out with the 17-year-old Emmy for the premiere of Othello, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Denzel Washington at Barrymore Theater in New York on March 23rd. For the Broadway excursion, Jennifer, who shares Emmy alongside with twin Max with ex Mark Anthony, wore a sparkly black two-piece ensemble, exposing her midriff, along with a fluffy coat. She topped off the look with a pair of stud earrings and a small clutch. Emmy, meanwhile, coordinated with a Grammy nominee by also sporting black, opting for a pinstripe suit paired with a gray dress shirt and some silver necklaces. Jennifer and Emmy's rare night out together comes almost exactly a month after Emmy and twin Max's 17th birthday. For the special occasion, Jennifer naturally celebrated her kids, whom she affectionately refers to as coconuts on Instagram. And now that her kiddos are all grown up, Jennifer, who finalized her divorce from Ben Affleck, early this year, is getting them even more involved in her career. I think kids are wrapped up in their own lives a bit, but if you ask them, they will give you their honest opinion about everything. You know what I mean. Jennifer told E! News in January, they are ready to be brutally honest with you at times. The Made in Manhattan star, however, has learned to use brutal honesty to her advantage. I always have such joy from hearing their thoughts and what they think about things, she added. I'll share certain things with them and say, what do you think of this or what do you think of that? And they always have interesting perspective because they're formed from a different generation. Trouble is a brewing for the controversy-laden Snow White, the live-action remake of the iconic 1937 animated film that put Walt Disney's film empire on the map. The big-budget tentpole opened to $43 million domestically, enough for the first place finish, but behind even the most modest of expectations after getting battered by so audiences scored and underwhelming reviews. Reviews. That's even less than Tim Burton's Dumbo, which came in at $45 million in 2019. Overseas, Snow White took in $44.3 million for a global launch of $87.3 million, after hoping to clear $100 million. The good news, the $250 million production still had no trouble winning the weekend and will have no competition until Warner Brothers' kid-friendly Minecraft movie opens on April 4th. Moreover, the female skewing film is hoping to emulate the pace and tempo of Disney's Christmas tentpole, Mufasa the Lion King, which debuted to $35 million on its way to sprinting past $700 million globally. Starring Rachel Zegler in the titular role and Gal Gadot as the evil queen, Snow White has been tracking to open to just north of $50 million, although Disney has been conservative into putting out a range of $45 million to $55 million. Even at $43 million, It is the second biggest opening to the year to date, behind fellow Marvel/Disney tentpole Captain America: Brave New World, which placed number 3 in its sixth weekend with $4.1 million, dollars, as it cleared the $400 million dollars mark globally, including a domestic cum of $192.1 million. Dollars. Snow White is the rare Disney live-action remake that earned a B+ cinema score from audiences. Almost every film has received some variation of an A grade. Still among moviegoers under the age of 18, the movie received an A cinema score. Directed by Mark Webb, Snow White arrived in theaters loaded with baggage after being buffeted by delays and controversy, beginning with the backlash over casting Zegler in a titular role because of the color of her skin. She's also made no secret of her support for Palestinian people. I can't pronounce that word with the P. Galdot, who is Israeli, has come under scrutiny for her remarks regarding the Gaza conflict. In terms of other Disney princess live-action remakes, the Beauty and the Beast astounded when opening to $174.6 million domestically in mid-March 2017, not adjusted for inflation. Inflation. In spring 2015, Cinderella debuted to $67.9 million domestically. Maleficent launched to $69 million in May 2014. While Snow White is one of the best-known Disney princesses among adults 45 years and older, she is far less known among younger demos, not to mention that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is nearly 90 years old. The animated Beauty and the Beast was released in 1991, and generations of kids grew up watching the films at home, and Cinderella has remained a perennial favorite among the Disney princess fans since the animated film hits theaters in 1950. The Weeknd was even worse. A sequel to Disney and Pixar's 2017 film, Coco, is in development at Pixar Animation Studios, Disney CEO Bob Iger said Thursday. Speaking at Disney's annual shareholder meeting, Iger announced the title Coco 2 and said the film is still in early stages of development. The theatrical release is set for 2029. The sequel will bring back members of the creative team from the original film, including director Lee Unkrich and co-director Adrian Molina. Mark Nielsen from Toy Story 4 and Inside Out 2 will produce. While the film is just in initial stages, we know it will be full of humor, heart, and adventure, and we can't wait to share more soon, Iger said. Coco was released in 2017 and follows a 12-year-old boy who dreams of becoming a musician and is accidentally transported to the land of the dead. While there, he seeks out his great-great-grandfather, a deceased musician, who help him convince their family to allow him to play music. Coco won 2 Academy Awards for Best Animated Feature and Best Original Song Remember Me, written by Robert Lopez and Christian Anderson Lopez. The film also won a Golden Globe for Best Picture Animated, a BAFTA for Best Animated Film, and a Critics' Choices Awards for Best Animated Feature and Best Song. Disney is also planning a Coco ride-through attraction which is slated to come to Disney's California Adventure. Okay, that's all the time we have for this week, and we'll be looking forward to next week on Rainbow Hollywood. Bye.